Housing and community welfare. To define and explain the meaning of welfare. To appreciate the importance of welfare measures in industries. To discuss the need for housing welfare schemes. To appreciate the need for community welfare. To correlate the housing and community welfare to the growth of industries. Dear students, till now we have been dealing with a variety of topics which are connected to industries. Today we are again going to touch on another aspect of industry that deals with the welfare of the employees. Let me ask you, how many of you are aware of the word welfare? How many of you have read about different welfare measures? Why are they important? So today we will see the meaning of welfare and its aim. We will also try to understand the importance of welfare measures. Since we are dealing with industries, we will also try to understand the need for housing welfare measures for the employees and the labor force. We also need to understand what are the things that can be listed under this housing welfare scheme by the organization. Along with this, we will try to understand the meaning of community welfare and how an industrial organization caters to do it for their employees. Meaning of welfare. Welfare is the provision of a minimal level of well-being and social support for all citizens, sometimes referred to as public aid. In most of the developed countries, welfare is largely provided by the government in addition to charities, informal social groups, religious groups, and intergovernmental organizations. Welfare is the state or condition of doing or being well. The term is primarily invoked when some action is considered necessary in order to enhance individual or group welfare, that is, when welfare is somewhere in doubt. It is consequently a term employed first and foremost in the arena of policy and is intimately linked to the concept of needs, since it is by meeting needs that welfare is enhanced. Welfare policies are policies designed to meet individual or group needs. The needs at issue are not merely those necessary for survival, but those necessary for a reasonable or adequate life within the society. They not only include a minimum level of income for food and clothing, but also adequate housing, education, health care, and opportunities for employment, though this is not always included. Precisely how and to what extent these needs are met clearly varies from society to society. Industrial welfare. Welfare in the industrial sectors have also picked up in recent times. You would be wondering, why in the industries? Is it necessary? Yes, welfare in industries is meant for the employees and labor force who work there. They are also humans and need to be treated like one. Hence, the Labour Commission has made it mandatory for all organizations to have welfare measures to take care of their employees and labor force. Importance of welfare in industrial field. It is understood that without the employees and the labor force, no industries can survive. Hence, it is always better to see that they are taken care of. Not only employees, but also their families who are dependent on them. Hence, every industrial organization takes it upon them to see the welfare of their employees and laborers. Welfare includes anything that is done for the comfort and improvement of employees and is provided over and above the wages. Welfare helps in keeping the morale and motivation of the employees high, so as to retain the employees for longer duration. The welfare measures need not be in monetary terms only, but in any kind of forms. Employee welfare includes monitoring of working conditions, creation of industrial harmony through infrastructure for health, industrial relations, and insurance against disease, accident, and unemployment for the workers and their families. So, In modern times, all organizations use motivation. They feel that motivation is a primitive measure that has to be done in every employee welfare activities. So, every organization is providing maximum motivation to the employee by providing several employee benefits and welfare activities by which the employees are feeling happy to work within the organization. By this welfare activity, which is being provided directly or indirectly to the employee, he is able to work with satisfaction and obedience among the higher authorities. They will also feel proud to be working within the organization. It is believed and proven too that by having welfare schemes in the industries, the attitude of employee towards the organization has changed. This will automatically make them interested to work at a maximum strength. The company is not only providing the welfare activities but also trying to help to increase the improvement of technical skills of the employee. That means the employee is not only working in the company but also educating himself. Employee welfare implies the setting up of minimum desirable standards and the provision of facilities like health, food, clothing, housing, education and job security, etc. These facilities enable the worker and his family to lead a good work like family and social life. Employee welfare also helps to neutralize the harmful effects of large-scale industrialization and urbanization. Industrial welfare suggests to the well-being, happiness, prosperity and the development of human resource, that is labor. And in any industrial organizations, laborers are considered the workforce. They know that workforce needs to be kept happy. In the broader sense, labor welfare means providing social security and other activities as medical and canteen, recreation, housing and education arrangement for the transportation of the labor from their house to the workplace and from the workplace back to their homes. The main aim of labor welfare is to provide welfare facilities and amenities that would enable the workers employed in industries or factories to perform their work in health and high moral conditions. Welfare means faring or doing well. After employees have been hired, trained and remunerated, they need to be retained and maintained to serve the organization. So every year, better welfare facilities are redesigned to take care of the well-being of the employees. They do not generally result in any monetary benefit to the employees, nor are these facilities provided by employers alone. Governmental and non-governmental agencies and trade unions too contribute toward employee welfare. The welfare facilities together contribute to better work. Aim of welfare. The main aim of providing the welfare measures is to bring the development in the personality of the worker, his social, psychological, moral, cultural and intellectual development to make him a good worker, a good citizen and a good member of the family. Need for welfare work. The need for labor welfare arises from the very root of the industrial system, which is characterized by two basic factors. 1. The conditions under which work is carried on. It should be according to the manner of work done by them. This is because each person has a different work in the industry, and so according to the hazard of the job, a welfare measure is taken. 2. When a labor joins an industry, he has to work in an entirely strange atmosphere which creates problem of adjustment with one another. Call these two factors the long arm of the job and the social invasion of the factory. The industrial worker is a soldier safeguarding the social and economic factors of the industrial economy. Their actions and interactions within the industrial framework will have a great impact and influence on industrial development. The social and economic aspects of the life of a worker have a direct influence on the social and economic development of the nation. There is every need to take extra care of the worker. to provide both statutory and non-statutory facilities to them. Welfare facilities, besides removing dissatisfaction, help to develop loyalty in workers towards the organization. Welfare may help minimize social evils such as alcoholism, gambling, prostitution, drug addiction, and the like. A worker is likely to fall a victim to any of these if they are dissatisfied or frustrated. Welfare facilities tend to make the worker happy, cheerful, and confident looking. Welfare may not directly increase productivity, but it may add to general feeling of satisfaction with the company. Facilities like housing schemes, medical benefits, education, and recreation facilities for workers, families help in raising their standards of living. This makes workers to pay more attention towards work and thus increases their productivity. They provide better physical and mental health to workers and thus promote a healthy work environment. We have heard of labor welfare and child welfare, but we also have housing and community welfare. We will see what is meant by housing and community welfare in the industrial unit. Housing welfare. Housing, as rightly pointed out by the Committee on Labor Welfare, as being a basic human necessity. We know that a man needs shelter, and for many years or centuries men have been inventing some form of shelter for them to stay and feel protected. Hence, we can say that houses are the most important thing after money. Everyone needs a house to live in. He cannot live on streets under pathetic conditions. Hence, everywhere man first looks out for a house that is in good condition and has all the basic amenities. Hence, it holds a very high priority in any scheme of national planning and industrial development. It has been a social problem affecting all sections of populations in some measure or other, particularly in the developing countries like India. The provision of housing has a direct bearing on the health and efficiency of the factory workers. In fact, a solution for the health and efficiency of the industrial workers lie in providing cheap, healthy, and adequate accommodation to them. It may be mentioned here that healthy accommodation includes adequate space, ventilation, light, lavatories, drainages, and other sanitary arrangements. But as against this, adequacy and poor quality of housing has become the bane of urban industrial life. In every industrial country, the problems associated with the housing of the working classes have increased as industry has developed, and India has been no exception to that rule. In recent times, one can see that providing houses for their employees is becoming a problem in many organizations. They do not provide one as they do not have that much of land to construct houses and amenities. These employees need to find their own houses slightly away from their workplace. In some organizations, they do provide transportation. Due to the rise in house rents, some of the labor forces do not bring their families from their hometown. This also leads to mental frustrations among them. The Labor Investigation Committee, after reviewing the housing conditions in various urban areas in India, came to the conclusion that industrial housing in general was far from the factory. The committee felt that a clear long-term housing policy was essential for improving housing conditions of the industrial workers. The problem of housing in a developing country like India has a special significance in view of the increased rapid industrialization. Greater urbanization and influx of rural population in cities in recent years have also contributed to this problem of housing. Several schemes were introduced to promote housing construction for industrial workers. The government came up with a subsidized housing scheme for industrial workers and economically weaker sections of the community. Apart from the progress made under the different housing schemes, the employers are also providing housing facilities to their workers of their own accord. Further, the role of the cooperative societies in providing houses to the workers has helped in a significant way by affecting economy in the cost of housing, constructing and imbibing a spirit of self-help and mutual cooperation. The state housing boards have been constituted to implement various social housing schemes. After all the plans that were implemented, all the big industrial sectors in India have started providing houses to all their employees and laborers near the factories. Most of the housing accommodations provided are 2 to 3 storied buildings. These houses are so constructed that one can find single to 3 bedroom houses. These houses are allotted according to the hierarchy in the organization, and according to this hierarchy one can get to see that the amenities provided inside the house also changes. But all the employees of the industrial unit are provided a house. Most of the industrial units also provide housing accommodation free of rent. That is, as long as the employee is working in that organization, he need not pay any rent for the house. It is considered as an incentive by the management to the employees. These houses are all of good condition and provide all the basic amenities to the employees. This has really become a boon to many employees who have migrated from other places and can bring their families too. Another aspect of welfare is towards the community. Let us see about it also. Both housing and community welfare are dependent on each other. Community welfare. A community can be said as a group of people living together in one place with a feeling of fellowship with others. As a result of sharing common attitudes, interests and goals, they feel that they all belong to one place. In the industrial areas also, we can describe the housing areas as a community. This is because all the employees have left their parents and living in a new place. All of them are connected with each other and all of them feel like a big family. So, for the well-being of these communities, welfare measures had to be taken by the industrial organizations. We all know that to survive and grow, we all need a variety of things. These things can range from groceries to vegetables or medicines and health care. This had to be taken care and provided by these organizations. Overall, welfare of the employees also include their health, recreational facilities, educational facilities for the children and social facilities, etc. Provision for all these facilities for the employees as a community is called community welfare. It is very important after housing welfare. For the community welfare, one has to first think of providing the basic things needed for the running of the house. Hence, shops have to be opened. A variety of shops were needed which were opened for them. The next thing is the area of health. Hence, the organizations had to open hospitals with good facilities. They also recruit competent doctors who again work for the organization. That is, they will be recruited by the organization as their doctors and get paid by them. Along with hospitals, many small healthcare centers also had to be set up inside the complex. Since the families were also staying with the employees, there is always an issue of education for the children. To improve into that area, educational school had to be set up with teachers appointed by the organization. Like the doctors, the teachers were also a part of the organization and were paid by them. Community welfare also had to see that these employees and their families had some form of recreational facilities. Hence, they had to construct a cinema hall and have parks inside the complex. They also had to make provisions for all types of games to be played. Last but not the least, the basic necessities of man such as water supply, drainage, etc. were also to be provided. So, one can say that community welfare has to take into account all these factors and see to it that they keep maintaining them and, if possible, give better facilities as years pass. The main aim of community welfare is to give all the best facilities to the employees so that they feel that they are wanted and get happiness. This will indirectly affect the industrial production. Another aspect of community welfare is not only to take care of the employees but also of the other communities who live outside these complexes. It is seen recently that some of the big industries are including the local areas in their development. They are helping them by setting up healthcare centers and also providing educational help to the children. These welfares also try to take care of the women folk by starting small scale industries. So, we can say that the community welfare is not only restricted to the organization but also to the local areas. When this happens indirectly, it also affects the society and the country at large. Today we have been learning about two most important aspects in an industrial sector. We all know that after labor welfare, the industrial organizations have to take care of their housing problems and welfare of all the employees under the community welfare. We saw the reasons for the need for the housing welfare. We saw that due to land restraint, many organizations were not providing houses to their employees. These employees had to live far away, but with the intervention of the Labour Committee, it has been made mandatory for all the industrial sectors in India to provide houses to their employees near to the industries. This has led to all the industries providing houses to their employees, but the type of house depended on the hierarchy of work. Along with the housing, the industrial sectors also have to take care of the community welfare. They need to see that all facilities are provided to the employees and their families in the field of education, health and recreation. We also saw that it is the duty of the industrial organization to see that the communities outside their complex is also being developed and taken care of. It is considered their duty to see that they employ their labor force from these local people. In this way, the whole place can be developed, which indirectly will affect in the growth of India. Thank you.